YouTube, what's up? It's your boy Crypto J coming at you with another J Talks Crypto. If you're brand new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, the bell each and every day, giving you guys the top bits in cryptocurrency. We're gonna be making a live stream today, guys. It's gonna be a live stream. It's gonna be a good one. I told you guys we'd be doing more live streams. The other day I did a vertical live stream for like an hour and a half, and then I was like, this morning I was like, oh man, how about instead of a Crypto J in the morning show, I'll give you guys a live stream. What's up, brother? Hopefully, Richie. Hopefully that the stream will go good today, right? Maybe the stream will go good. Maybe it won't, but maybe it will. We got 4 people in here. We're piling on in here, guys. I'm just giving you guys a little bit of time. Happy Saturday, man. I'm excited. I think there's some big fights on today. I have to check. But I think there's some big fights on. Some of you guys know I'm a big UFC fan. I like it. I like the weekend. I feel like the weekends are for the boys, right? Oh, Sean O'Malley's fighting tonight. It's gonna be a good one. It's gonna be a good one, boys. But we're gonna talk about it all. We talking about some Toshi. We're gonna talk about some Toshi. We're gonna talk about the whole market, guys. Hopefully, again, the connection goes well today. So let's talk about it. We got Bitcoin pulled up over here. I just want to make sure that the live looks right. Okay, cool. Because I'm trying to get better at these live streams, bro. Sometimes I be messing up. But then they had DDG made $12 million in 1 month off his live stream. So I'm like, I gotta go live every day. So we're gonna go live every day, guys, because YouTube's not paying me $12 million. Nowhere close. So we're gonna talk about it. We're about the whole market. As you guys can see, Fear Greed Next coming in at a 52. We were just at like a 43 yesterday. What the right? Are we starting to see a little bounce back? We're starting to see a little spring back in the market, or again, is this a dirty, nasty trick by the bears trying to fake us out right before the week starts? Right? We do weekend, so let's see kind of what's going on. As you guys can see, total market cap. Yesterday's video, I was telling you guys how important it was that we break up to that 106 and that we continue going on. Alert this morning saying that we retested the zone. I'm like, oh snap, Bitcoin just hit 106. Are we back on the road again? Or again, is this a rising wedge forming here, right? We thought we had a rising wedge, started breaking, acting like it was going to break down, kind of like a recovery that looks like this. This is not extremely bullish. This is kind of looking manipulated. It's kind of looking nasty, and it's looking like it's, even though we're punting this situation, it does look like the volume is just not what it should be. Right? This is not. This is like manipulated price action. It just seems like this thing might be a dump still. Right? You could see some of these saying 22 hours ago, BTC dropped hard more than expected due to Elon Trump. I don't know that it was Elon and Trump that dumped the market. I just think that the market needed to dump. And this is why, so, like, the trend is your friend. Like, this is not anything new, right? We created a shoulder, head, shoulder. And really, right here, even we were talking about it as Bitcoin started to break down, right? Once Bitcoin, it's the seventh, like this was not anything new. This was already giving signs that the trend had reversed. It gave us a bear flag here. We had a shoulder, head, shoulder here. And now we're wondering again, are we going to break down below this again? Or can Bitcoin start making some kind of a recovery? Some people thinking that the bull rally is going to start on Monday. Some people thinking that it's going to take a little bit longer and that's going to require a little bit of patience. I do think that there is a chance that this market's going to need. But we've been talking about our fear greed index, right? And just kind of how we're looking. In my opinion, this is the most indicator that I'm paying the most attention to right now, just because again, every time that we've went into the screen and we've created this little rabbit ears, it's been a sign that we needed to see a correction. As you can see here, did the same thing here, and this yellow starting to slowly break down. Wondering, can we make a recovery out of this? It's very few times that we go from green to yellow right back into the green super fast, right? Does that really ever happen? Like that really kind of never happens. Like we usually, when we go into the green and then we go into the yellow, because orange is going to come, right? Kind of, right? I mean, right here we went green, yellow, and then we made a good quick recovery, but we didn't break out. We just kind of kept doing this, right? We did this all the way from April all the way to August, and I told you guys that this correction was going to take a long time. These corrections just tend to take longer than people are willing to wait it out. And then also, when Bitcoin decides it wants to pump, it just seems like it goes higher than everybody expected it to go. So it's just kind of like one of those things. I'm just happy when Bitcoin goes on sale. I get excited when we hit this orange. I do think that there's a chance that we do go back into the orange. If that happens, we're going to need to see some sell-off happen. It would require a breakdown in the market. It would require a lot of fear coming into the market. Hey, do you have any videos or information on staking crypto? Where you get started or in Patreon, doing some studying. Um, staking right now is kind of, I'd be looking at more at staking down here in this orange than in the yellow, because again, you could still have losses staking your coins, right? If the market decides it wants to dump significantly, then I wouldn't want all my stake uh, get out my coins. But I do know that a lot of people are looking to make money, and I've done staking in the past, but I mean, I don't even know anybody that's like, man, I just make my crypto. Like I just don't even hear that. So I don't know. It's always a risk. I always say that time in the market beats timing the market. I think that the people that really win are just the people that dollar cost average. I mean, if you're staking something that you feel like is a blue chip or something like that, maybe that might be a good. But just understand that the market is still in a downtrend. I just want you guys to really understand that, and that the trend is your friend, right? If I'm betting in a long situation, if I'm scalping, if I'm swing trading, I like when the trend is going up. But if I'm just trying to make some money off of shorts down in the market, sometimes there's people that do is they short markets, they look for things that are overvalued, that they feel like there's no way this thing could pump anymore. It needs to start cooling down, and they start taking out shorts. Bitcoin is looking like a lot of shorts right now, right? So that's one thing that I would pay attention to, because these guys are looking for every time Bitcoin starts creating one of these nasty things like this rising wedge, they're looking at this as an opportunity to market, right? You can see some of them took an opportunity to short the market, and they absolutely got liquidated. This is why, again, I say, time in the market beats timing the market. All these guys trying to gamble, trying to guess whether the market's going to go up or whether the market's going to go down. Ultimately, the market, nobody really knows, right? But if you're just one of the guys like myself who's just looking for opportunity, just looking for chances to dollar cost average when things are cheap, historically, if you were just accumulating instead of trying to make swing trades, instead of trying to do uh, dangerous gambling stuff and stuff like that, if you just treated it more like an investment and you were looking at things that had utility on these dips, that's what I'd be paying attention to. I'd be paying attention. There's a lot of stuff that I pay attention to on a Bitcoin dip. First thing that I mainly pay attention to is where the heck is the volume going, right? Our market, sometimes Bitcoin dominance drops, and then we'll see all these altcoins start running. Well, when the altcoins are running, I want to know what is running, what is trending, what's constantly trending week after week. This is how so many times we've caught coins before they hit the exchanges, because they're trending every day on DEX tools, or they'll be trending for like a week or 2 weeks on DEX tools or something like that. That's a good indicator that that is a coin that has a lot of demand. You could go and check on its search volume of information, and knowing that, again, these guys are bullish on the project. Also, DEX tools tells you too if they're promoting it, or if they're doing anything like that. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna pull up DEX tools. Um, just so you guys could kind of see what I'm talking about. But DEX tools is a tool, guys, that I've been using for years. As a matter of fact, when I started using DEX tools, we didn't have a bunch of other tools, bro. It was just all that there. That was really it, right? And then Binance Smart Chain got introduced later, and your website you have to use pootracker.com, and you could track all the Binance coins and stuff like that. I don't know if pootracker is still around, but I know that DEX tools has evolved since then. You still got Ethereum, these different chains now that you can monitor, that you can filter through coins. I like to use this. It's really good. I know Solana is super popping right now. At the same time, I'm not super crazy on Solana. I mean, I was in the past, but I just feel like, especially after Pump Fund, I looted the space, and I just feel like there's the amount of scams that's on This is just insane. Solana scams is just, it's too much. It's a little bit too diluted. And this is actually, just to digress, this is why I feel like Binance was such a failure, right? Because all the biggest Binance projects that ever came to be, like SafeMoon, I think was the biggest Binance project, and total scam. And so again, once your biggest coin that you have on the blockchain turns out to be a giant scam, it kind of damages the reputation, right? But Solana has a lot of good big coins that have been listed on websites and stuff like that, big exchanges and stuff. So not as bad as Binance. You don't see a lot of Binance coins that get listed anywhere other than Binance because again, they're sketchy. But or maybe because he's like the biggest competitor. I don't know. I like filtering through base also. I think that base is probably like the upcoming chain. I'm paying attention to a lot of these base coins and stuff like that. I haven't been so you guys could see Toshi coin all up in there right now. We'll pull up some Toshi. We'll talk about some Toshi because I know a lot of you guys follow the channel. You're interested in Toshi anyway. So we'll pull it up and we'll talk about it. As you guys can see, Toshi doing a lot of sideways price action today. Actually pretty pleased with the way that this coin's moving. We're not breaking down. In my opinion, we're not seeing the volatility that we saw. I can't believe that at one point, just in March, guys, this coin was like at 90 million or something. I was so surprised to see that this thing had fell below 100 million. And I would still be surprised to see this thing drop below 100 million, to be honest with you. But again, as volatile as it is, we can't, put that out of our mind that a correction is a possibility in this situation. Again, Toshi Coin's still in a downtrend and still trying to turn around, just like the rest of the market. The whole market kind of hanging coin, right? Another thing we got to pay attention to on this Toshi chart is just some of this, the way that this price, it looks like it might even want to break down some kind of a wedge, but it seems like we're already starting to break down underneath some levels of support. Let's get pulled up some of these indicators just because a little bit of a rejection underneath that bottom Keltner channel level. And this is what I was kind of talking about, right? See, if we wanted to be able to start seeing some, this was really the time to see the pump. We saw rejection here. We saw rejection here. We traded above this upper level only to drop back down. This is not hot, to be honest with you guys, because now we are using this bottom level, this Keltner channel, as a resistance line. That's what you can see. It's retesting it right now in the 12 hours. So really, we need a good solid close on today. You guys can see Toshi Coin starting to trend as more people are paying attention to this trade, because again, right now this is going to be a hot trade for people that are one, looking for just speculating and stuff like that. But you guys can see, I've been telling you guys too, one thing I've been paying attention to in Toshi is this pattern right here that we're creating, right? It looks exactly like this pattern right here. Doesn't this look exactly like this? And we fall below this bottom Keltner channel right before a big run up. This could be the same situation, right? We create this like little weird price action, breakdown, trending below, and then hopefully again, possibly some solid closes in the market. Again, that's going to depend on Bitcoin having a good close really in the weekend as well as into next week too. So I'm paying attention to that. Again, I'm not saying that, for sure we're going to see a breakout, but I am saying that the market is going to have to make some decisions because again, especially really within the next 24 hours, the market got to make some decisions here because in my opinion, this is a situation where we're going to either print big red here or we're going to print big green. And there is no in between, in my opinion, just because again, so much speculation under this bottom channel. If we start seeing some green closes, that will carry the price and that will give people a little bit of hopium enough to possibly think that of some kind of bottom. I think that every time that we see Toshi Coin start to see some price action, there's a lot of people that are trying to scope the bottom, that are trying to catch the bottom of this coin, including myself. I told you guys I'm looking for this thing at the cheapest price. If I'm looking to take a position today, which honestly I'm not really looking to take a position today because I usually don't take positions on the weekend, especially on a Saturday. It's just not in my opinion, the day to take a position. I feel like just too many times you sell off happen on the into a Sunday. So I feel like if I just wait until tomorrow, I mean, I could totally be eating those words because again, we're pumping today a little bit. So, maybe that's not a good idea, but I do think that if we do see a breakdown in the market happen tomorrow, I'd be paying attention. Honestly, I'm paying more attention to a position probably next week, probably later next week, or maybe like next weekend, like Sunday of next weekend, because I just see us creating this rising wedge here. This is just not good. I mean, again, we could reverse out of it, right? It looks like Bitcoin's trying to do something even right now. We got that support down at 105, but I told you guys we need to break above 106. We hit 106. Literally, I woke up this morning. I got the notification on my phone because I live on the west side. So by the time I wake up, it's already like 8 o'clock over there. It's like noon. Make Jay in the morning show at like noon for everybody, but on the east side. But um, Bitcoin did already hit 106, and then it kind of had a rejection, right? Creating kind of a little bit of a rising wedge here. And this is concerning to me, right? This is concerning to me because if we reject really off this zone, we're really sitting on the level of resistance right now. If we reject off of this zone, we can possibly see Bitcoin start to capitulate, which would not be a foreign thing to see happen on the weekend, right? We saw Bitcoin right here create this rising wedge, and you could see how it rejected. It's had a rejection here, and it's had a rejection here. It's rejection off this top level 3 times now, and now it's having. It could go either way, right? Maybe the fourth time is a charm. We start breaking out of some of this nastiness. We can get a good solid close above 106, but at the same time, I just personally do not bet against the trend. There's too many things that are pointing down in this situation, including this rising wedge, right? The rising wedge that's forming on the 1 day. We had a rising wedge right here as well, right? We are starting to retest this low, this Keltner channel, but still at the same time, the trend is your friend. You're not going to reverse. It takes a little bit more to reverse the trend after the trend is already broken down. Every once in a while you get these little spikes up of this little hopium of people trying to time the bottom, but again, something like a shoulder head shoulder, this pattern usually needs to see more downside. This bear flag also, sometimes this needs to see more bears downside, and I have a feeling that what we're going to see is something more like, and personally, in my opinion, I feel like we're going to see something more like a dead cat off this Keltner channel, and then we create like some kind of a wedge here, possibly even going into July. This is just my prediction, right? Possibly going into July, and then July we start seeing a recovery. Hopefully, Bitcoin doesn't drop below 100K. I do think that we have some psychological barriers down here at 100K, so maybe we can hold that. We do ultimately um gambling or the slot machine, right? We're looking at macro indicators. You guys could see a couple things can be happening here on this all-time chart, right? One thing that could be happening is maybe history will be rebuilt, right? Maybe we could, you can see we jump up here, we make a bull flag. It's just kind of been bull flag after bull flag. Same thing like this rally here, right? We jump up, we create a bull flag, we have another leg up, we make a bull flag, another leg up, we make a bull flag, reach a top action, and then look what happens here. Double top, right? Which is also a possibility too. This double top marked the end of our cycle last time. So, are we seeing another double top happen here? Some people are in the market are speculating that Bitcoin has already reached its top. That is going to need to see a significant correction, like similar to what we saw here. There will come a day where Bitcoin does need to make a significant correction. Maybe that day has already passed. Maybe we've already reached the top. Maybe these bears are right. Personally, I do think that we are going to see some volatility for sure. Personally, I believe, but at the same time, we just have not seen a blow off top, which is what I've been saying so much on the three guys. Bitcoin was just at, look at the price, man. The price is at like 15,000, and it's just been back when the price was. Oh my gosh, dude, the Bitcoin price 2015, $230. $230. Do you believe it? Bitcoin was at $230 and people were fudding it up, crying, complaining, right? We just dropped down from here from like $700 all the way down to $230. Think about that, guys. Just get in your head, right? We were at like really we jumped all the way up to 1,000 and we dropped down to 230. That's like an 80% drop in Bitcoin. And so again, back then we didn't have very many meme coins. I don't even know if meme coins were very much a thing. I don't even think Uniswap was around back then. As a matter of fact, it wasn't. I remember when Uniswap launched. I remember when it became like big and stuff like that. Uniswap was not around in 2015. So our market cap was more time. It was less diluted because we didn't have 2 million cryptocurrencies. Like, guys, even last cycle, I think there was like 5,000 to 6,000 coins. Now there's over 2 million coins. Trying to pick a winning coin is kind of insane. So that's just like paying attention to is just the amount of coins and the amount of stuff that there is out there. That's why I'm paying attention again to where the volume goes on these tips. Not all coins do well, guys. To go on to do big things, just because again, and that's what drew to these coins that over and over and over I see that there's a demand for. It's not necessarily to say that they're going to do 100% well. And I coin dip, you guys could see it. Brett's another coin that's been just kind of trending. All is going to be a coin that also has demand if Bitcoin wants to, see a rally or win or if, right? But as you guys can see, even Brettcoin right now, even at the time of the video, looking like it wants to pick up in traction, and it's up close to 10% today. So coming in at number 10, Brettcoin, right? Interesting. We talked about Brett early on the channel too. It's one of the many projects that we caught very early, and I caught it again just sitting on Dex tools, paying attention week in, week out, what's trending, and of course we're filtering through all these different chains. It's going to give us a different list of coins up here. But I'm definitely paying attention to a lot of these coins and a lot of this market. And honestly, Toshi coin too is now catching up to a lot of big coins and even surpassing these coins. And I feel like it's just not being talked about. Like Toshi already has twice as many holders as Pepe. Toshi has a massive community right now. They are really big, really honestly. And even Brettcoin, I think Brett's getting close to 1 million holders now as well, which is totally crazy that some of these base projects are actually starting to blow up. It's something that we've been talking about. I was telling you guys that I do believe that base is going to kind of be the next one up, in my opinion. I still think that that's true. I think that people are going to be tired of getting rugged in Solana meme coins. I'm not saying you can get rugged in a base coin either, but you just don't see it happening as much, right? It's not as common of an event as it is on Solana. So um, just kind of some food for thought and some things that I'm paying attention to. But let's look at Breadcoin. Just gonna have it pulled up over here. As you guys can see, Breadcoin has 854,000 people holding it today. So a lot of people holding Brett. It's already had, but look at this. This is another thing that you want to pay attention to. Even though it's had close to 1 million now, right? 854,000. One thing that's kind of like stands out to me on this page is the fact that this thing has had 18 million transactions, which lets me know that there's a lot of bots in this trade, that they're constantly moving money, that this is very manipulated, right? When I see this many transfers, and when I see this holder count, I'm automatically off out thinking this contract has a ton of bots. And so you're not going to escape bots. I'm not saying like just because your project has bots, it's going to be the end of the world. You're not going to be in a coin that doesn't have bots, right? Everything's going to have a bot in it or a couple bots in it or something like that. But ultimately, you want to kind of just have a little bit more control in transactions because it's letting me know who's buying, right? When I see the price action happen, I want to know who's buying, right? Is a smart contract buying? These are all things that I'm paying attention to. So just some food for thought. I always tell you guys, check the contract, check the transactions, things like that. They kind of get boring and tiring of hearing, but it's super important to pay attention to those kind of things because again, they kind of just let you know what's happening. And look at Ethereum also looking really weak too, right? Creating this rising wedge too. Same thing as Bitcoin. We had a rejection here, another rejection here. This monthly chart is looking so dirty on Ethereum. It's looking like this Ethereum needs to see a serious retest. Even though we're looking logarithmic, it doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if we're just looking regular. But you can see Ethereum still needs to break out of this downtrend, right? We're starting to trend sideways here. And I tell you guys, this sideways movement is just a lack of demand, to be honest with you. It needs to start picking up in volume. Otherwise, Ethereum is going to be looking nasty. And if Ethereum wants to break down off of this right here, it's going to lose all the momentum that's created, right? Ethereum's been creating some pretty decent momentum. We watched this thing drop down to some disgustingly low levels. I was even saying that I feel like Ethereum is going to go drop down to 1100. I wouldn't be surprised if that still happens, if Bitcoin needs to see a significant sell-off. I wouldn't be surprised if Ethereum does need to still, but I do think that that'll take time. I think that it'll be, like I said, dead cat bounce if the market decides it wants to reject off of these zones and then maybe create some kind of wedge. Maybe Ethereum decides it wants to send. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe the cycle's over for the season. I don't know, right? But at the same time, I do know that Ethereum needs to pick up, right? Ethereum had a couple times where it tried to break out. Ethereum has not created really new all-time highs in this cycle, right? It really hasn't. This cycle started in 2013, and we really have had a hard time on Ethereum picking up in volume. Some people maybe would have Solana, but ETH has just not been getting the volume that it needs. Ethereum also has had its own problems on its own blockchain, but in my opinion, I mean, Solana has had way more problems on the Solana blockchain, but that's just personally my beliefs. The Solana problems, like all kinds of problems, phantom wallet problems, all kinds of stuff. And to me, Ethereum, it has issues. Yeah, I was even trading on Ethereum, dude. Some of the times that I've made trades on Ethereum, I'm paying a couple $100 just back in the day, right? That was in a more volatile meme market. Some of you guys would have never wanted to play cryptocurrency at that time. It was really the Wild West, right? It was totally crazy. Imagine you got to pay $200-300 into a coin only to turn out for it to be a rug pull. Again, why I got so good at having to do my research, right? It's so important to do your research because, again, you don't want to have to pay high transaction fee only to find out that you made a grave mistake and not doing your research. So, luckily, I never had those problems and stuff like that. I still to this day have not been rugged on ETH, but um, I don't buy as much on ETH just because, again, I'm paying attention to things that have volume on this Bitcoin dip. And if Ethereum's blockchain is kind of lacking, then it's just not. Even Solana, like with the price action that Solana's had, I mean, last little run, I mean, again, this is still part of the same bull run, but the last little leg that Solana had, look at Solana, it's looking like it's starting to break down already. But the last leg that Solana had, it was already looking like people were starting to get fed up with the pump fund nonsense, with all this stuff. And I'm not saying these coins will not go on and do decent again, but I am saying that just a little bit too much greed. I always tell you when these guys are greedy, I'm fearful. When they're fearful, I'm greedy. I like when they're complaining. I like when they're crying and talking about how Bitcoin's going to go to zero. And I told you, yeah, come on my channel and come tell me how you told me so when Bitcoin drops down. And I'm going to come back and tell you how I told you so when it climbs back up. How about that? Right? That's how I always felt. And that's how I always felt. I've been covering Bitcoin since it was at $3,000, but I've been in this space since before Bitcoin was public. So you guys could see here, Solana already doing like kind of what I was telling you guys Bitcoin might start to see. Solana starting to break down, right? Creating a rising wedge here. This is shoulder head shoulder here. It's starting to break down off of that. Look, a bear flag here. It's just starting to see more signs of correction, right? And now it's sitting pretty much right on a neckline. And something like this, honestly, I would predict that Solana is going to create another shoulder here and is going to, unless this will probably end up selling off down to this like $100 range down here. And even then, it might not hold that support either. And again, if we saw a correction down to this 100 range, look, boom, boom, this would be a very yikes, right? If this actually, I don't think that if we drop down to 100K, I really don't think that there's a good chance that this holds. I think that there's a decent chance that this would actually see more sell-off and that Solana would take a good amount of time to recover from something like this. And look, we had a rejection here where we rejected here, a double top here, right? It's now kind of forming some kind of a bear flag, this giant bear flag here. We know what a bear flag could do, right? Because we watched the bear flag form right here, right? This flagpole with this flag had a big drop down, and now look, an even bigger one, a flagpole with a flag, right? And it's starting to break down. So again, that's what I'd be paying attention for on Solana. I'm still not betting against this trend. If anything, this trend looks even stronger in the fact that it's going down. And Solana would be a coin that I would be honestly thinking about taking out a short on. I would even think about taking it out right now, to be honest with you. But again, that's just me personally. Matter of fact, don't do anything based off of this video. It's just kind of food for thought. It's just my opinions on the market, but I'm not a financial advisor, guys. You got to go out and do your own research and that kind of stuff. But yeah, Solana looking like it's in a little bit of trouble right now. So price wise, I'm definitely right that if Bitcoin decides it wants to bring the market down, because if Bitcoin asserts some dominance even in pumping, that could send the market down too, right? Bitcoin could possibly be showing that people have more demand for that than other coins, right? Already starting this looking like it's starting to break down right now. Because look, we had a rising wedge form here, and then we broke down off of it, right? And then we started creating a rising wedge here. And now look, we're starting to break down on it. We're starting to create lower highs, which again is something that's an indicator that the trend might be starting to reverse. In this situation, I would expect for if Bitcoin decides it wants to drop down below, again, we still have support at 105, but yeah, if it decides that it wants to start correcting down below that, then I do think that we're going to start seeing some more shorts roll into the market, possibly even a retest of this 104 range. If we retest this 104 range, then I do think that there's a decent chance to capitulate, just because, again, I'm not going to bet against the trend. Trend is my friend. And there's just things that are saying this trend has turned around, right? There's nothing to say that yet we've gotten a confirmation. Right now, we're still just basically right? I don't get too excited every time that Bitcoin pumps because again, I'm looking macro, right? I'm not getting excited every time Bitcoin pumps, and I'm also not freaking out every time that Bitcoin dips. I'm just paying attention to what Bitcoin's doing on the June, right? Either we can have an amazing June, right? It's only the 7th right now. So June this month, it's looking like we're seeing some more fear come into the market. Again, we talked about the fear greed index showing the fact that we might need to see a retest of some lower level neutral at a 52. Yesterday we were at a 43. You could see, well, yesterday it says we were at a 46. I'm sorry, but you could see we just been kind of neutral for the past week, and you could see kind of again how this has played out in the past. We get into this green, we drop into the yellow, and more times than not, after going from green to yellow, we're going to see a retest of these oranges. It just tends to see what happens, right? We went to green to yellow, orange, right? Green to yellow. This didn't drop down to orange, right? But we did see a lot of volatility. So again, I'm expecting the same thing happen in June. I'm expecting a lot of volatility. Um, I don't think that we are going to see an insane, massive breakdown, as in like this has been a double top and this is the end of our market, like what the market is kind of flashing red signs to be right now, right? A lot of people that are looking at this are paying attention to this double top that we've had in the past, right? And thinking the top of the cycle. In my opinion, they're setting this pattern. The market makers are showing us this pattern to scare us into again thinking that this is this. But in my opinion, we have not had a blow off top. This is just a little bump in the road. Bitcoin still looking like it's still on course to have a great 2025. But again, it's looking like we might see some volatility. It's looking like this correction that Bitcoin has been seeing might need to shake some more paper hands. We know, like I said, it's not going to recover when you want it to. The market's going to recover when it wants to. It's normally going to take longer than you expect, and it's normally going to go lower than you expect. And then also, it's going to recover to go higher usually than you expect. Every time I feel like Bitcoin has made a recovery, people have been more kicking themselves because they get the FOMO, they get that euphoria feeling that comes in a bull market, and it just becomes a question of why wasn't I accumulating? I knew it, da da da, and that kind of rhetoric and stuff like that. But just understand that even a lot of people were buying and taking positions at 111 when Bitcoin was sitting at 111. And I told you guys that if you're buying coins right now, if you're taking positions right now, just understand that even though your coin might not be at the top, you are here. So just expect some volatility. I was already mentioning that to you guys. Sometimes we do see a clear breakout, like see, we had this bull flag, it broke out, but it was a lot of fake way, right? Before the thing broke out. And then ultimately, created this wedge here. Boom, absolutely exploded when Trump took office. I don't know what could be the catalyst to send the market up. It seems like everything that we're getting right now is just kind of creating fear in the market. You got China talks, you got tariff talks. Now, I guess LA is protesting. I have no idea. I haven't even been out there. It's like I'm like maybe like 45 minutes from LA, but I ain't going out there. That's crazy. They got like the armed guard, all kinds of stuff. When that kind of stuff happens, It's going to create fear in the market. People are at the end of the world. People are always thinking everything is going to, got people complaining and crying, and then that crying, and then all the people that have been in the market for a long time were kind of just like, okay, here we go again. This is nothing out of the normal, especially if you've been in Bitcoin and crypto for a long time. You guys should already know this is what happens. Volatility is what happens in crypto. And again, when you weren't here, if you weren't here when Bitcoin went from 1,000 all the way down to 230, then you may not be used to of us who have been in this space for a long time. It's nothing to us, guys. If you're not used to watching your investment go down like 60, 70%, honestly, you really shouldn't be in meme coins. You have no business investing in meme coins. And that's why, guys, do not over invest, do not over leverage, be responsible with your money. Don't invest money you can't afford to lose. Those are all valid things. I'm not telling you that because I don't want to see you win. I'm telling you that because I do want to see you win, because I don't want to see you get liquidated before the bull rally. And because, too, I don't want to see you not diversifying your portfolio. In my opinion, a successful portfolio should be a diversified portfolio. Why would you not diversify your portfolio anyway? Because if you're so early on cryptocurrency, really, again, we talked about it just yesterday, the fact that you only need one coin to be a winner in cryptocurrency. So, if you're all into one coin already, what to do with your money or how to spend it and stuff like that, or I'm not telling you what to buy or anything like that, but I would tell you that, you have having 5 chances is a lot better than having one chance. And if one of your coins is not performing well, there's your other coins may make up for all of that. So that's generally kind of how it is. I've had plenty of times where it's one coin or two or three coins that are carrying my whole portfolio because the rest of the market is not performing super hot, and then those coins are actually performing really well. And would have been looking if I was just, again, all in on one coin that is highly speculative, highly volatile, which really is all meme coins right now. Especially anything that you're investing to under $1 billion is going to be super highly volatile. Just understand that Bitcoin can capitulate, drop down. If that happens, you're going to see a lot of fear in the market. We already talked about, right? That fear greed index, the fact that it might need to drop down into the orange. And I tell you guys that so you could be mentally prepared, even though will not be mentally prepared, even though it will they'll freak out and they'll still, draw fear, and they'll watch the other guy. Another guy will be spitting some end of the world stuff or something. People will get liquidated. But at the same time, we know because, well, at least I know I've been paying attention to a lot of these big investors that have been accumulating. They've been very public about it. Big institutions, large investors, even our president talking about how he's been using this zone. So the only people that I really see freaking out and panicking is the people that are over investing. It's retail that is over investing at the top, and they are not um, really making good trading habits. Those are the people that I see and stuff like that. It seems like all the people that accumulating, and usually that's what happens right before these prices kind of take off. We'll see retail start selling off, prices looking market, and then we'll see all these big investors accumulating. And the cool thing about crypto too is like they can't really lie about it, because now a lot of these people, a lot of these big companies, people already know their wallets, and so they're tracking their wallets, and they know the days that they're making stocks where people could just lie about it. Like you could literally go track these transactions yourself. And some of these people, like they even on Twitter, they'll like share, oh, this is so and so's wallet address, or like this big company or whatever. And then you can like go follow and see exactly what they're buying, what their portfolio would be looking like. And then maybe you might want to diversify out into some do your research, right? Because now you're seeing something maybe they created. I don't know, like if so, if any that would be centralized, it would be probably a dirty, nasty scam, because just the track record that a lot of these big companies are having now, it just seems like these big billionaires are feeling like they could kind of get away with anything, especially when it comes to crypto right now. So again, if a big company or like an influencer or something like that, they want to start a coin, I'm generally not going to get into it. There's not really anything that I know of like that has listed anywhere significantly anyway. Like it just seems like that's not what CZ is looking for. It's not what Coinbase and crypto.com, it just seems like that's not what they're looking for. They're not looking for coins that were created by some influencer. Again, I don't know any coin that has been, maybe the Dave Portnoy coin. That's the only coin that was picked up by Kraken. I thought that was so weird that picked up by Kraken, but that coin's probably on the floor right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if it got delisted. Sometimes you do see coins get delisted, and the reason why the coins would get delisted is just because, again, just like these cryptocurrency exchanges look for volumes, like myself. Again, if you have your money on the crypto exchange, they're making money every time you're buying and selling and moving and stuff like that. So for the coins, just like I am, that have the volume, that, you know, again, they want to have the coins that perform the best over time on their website, and I think that that's a good thing. But also, it's always a reality that coins can get delisted. We've seen coins get delisted in the past. Even we've seen big coins go on and get delisted just because of a lack of volume. But that's why I always say again, too, it's super important to make sure your coin has a roadmap. If there's a lot of stuff left in your roadmap, maybe your stuff, this is keeps confidence in the market, that keeps confidence behind price. It's just because, again, they have an active social media following, just because they have a lot of people, sometimes they're bots, but people, just because they have a lot of people that are talking about the coin doesn't necessarily mean that I don't need to do my research. If anything, it means that I more need to do my research. Again, guys, there's never a situation where you hear about something where it's like, oh, okay, I trust that, or so and so said that, I trust that. Guys, even things that I say, double, triple check. You should. It's your money. You're investing it. This is part of your research. Don't listen to what you hear on the computer and that you see on YouTube. I tell you that all the time. I'm not telling that to hurt you guys. I'm not telling you that to kill your trust in me or whatever. I'm telling you that because I'm your homie. I don't want to see you get wrecked. I want to see you actually learn this stuff and how to understanding and have a different point of view. All I share with you guys is my viewpoints. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I've been trading now for a long time, enough to be able to have an input on things that are happening, right? We've been kind of accurate on how things are playing out. And that's just because, honestly, things have been playing out normal based off of the trend. If I'm a swing trader, this has not been too insane. Now, there are times where Bitcoin is just looking too disgustingly wild. Like swing trading this month, I'm not swing trading into a month that looks like this. Absolutely not. This is not a clear trend at all. If anything, like maybe I would take out a short here. I was saying that earlier just because, again, we have a rising wedge here and we started breaking down off of this pattern. But look at the month in general. It's been a lot of people getting liquidated left and right? The bulls getting liquidated, the bears getting liquidated. Nobody knows which way the market's going. It's highly speculative. And so these guys are just using that opportunity to jack around the price and take money. They're liquidating these guys. Understand that, right? Whenever you place a buy order, it has to be filled, right? It has to be filled, right? The only way that my number, if the price is already above that, is if there's enough sell volume that comes in to fill my order. The same thing as on the vice versa, right? If I place a order and the price is if I place a sell order and if I place a sell order and the price is above that, in order for my order to get filled, it would have to drop down. Now, sometimes when you guys trade with a slippage, understand that too. You're trading with a slippage. You're basically saying, like, some of you guys will trade with like a 10%. You're basically saying, give me this coin for the price I would get it at if it was 10% higher than it is right now. So you're coming back with coins, and some of these coins, they're not even volatile enough for you to need 10% leverage. It's just basically saying, like, if this moves this much, I still want to make sure that I'm already in this trade. So I'll settle for doing 10% above. I'll pay. Give me 10% less coins, basically, is what you're saying in that situation. Now, sporadic parabolic growth, like, again, if I'm trading into a coin that's like 100,000 market cap, actually go up 10-20%, you might get insufficient slippage warning, because your coin has already moved 10%, right? But again, if you're just going to be overspending, like if this coin's sitting at like $2 billion, I don't need 10% slippage to trade into a coin that's $2 billion. Again, you're going to come back with less coins, you'll have less money in total, and you'll realize that transaction really just costs you 10% more than percent slippage, and guess your transaction just cost you $2,000 to get into that trade. That's not very good. So again, just understand kind of how slippage works and what that is, and why your orders are not filling. Or maybe it's the opposite, right? Maybe your orders are filling, but you don't realize that you're spending entirely too much. What I do with my slippage is I walk it up, right? This is how slippage was intended. You walk it up. So you start at the lowest slippage possible, and then it's okay if it fails. If it fails, that's okay. You don't lose money if it fails. You just keep walking it up, right? If it doesn't go at 0.5, I'll walk it up to 0.8. If it doesn't go at 0.8, I'll walk it up to 1%. If it doesn't go at 1%, I'll walk it up to 1.5%. It doesn't go at 1.5, I'll walk it up to 2%. And what you'll see noticing too, and what you'll notice happening also, is that your gas fee recalculates. Every time that you're changing your slippage, your fees recalculate. You could even refresh the page and your fees will recalculate. Sometimes you'll be surprised. You'll be like, wow, I was going to pay like $10, $15 on this transaction. I refresh it, I lower my slippage, and now the transaction is only going to cost me like $250, and I'm going to be spending like a lot less because my slippage is lower, right? Ultimately, the lower your slippage is, the less you're putting out on the transaction. Where your slippage is higher, again, that the higher slip will be small, because again, volatility is going to be a factor to trade like that. So just something again to pay attention to. Toshi coin right now would not need something like that. Toshi coin would not need 10% slippage, because Toshi coin has not been seeing a lot of volume. I should be able to do a 1% slippage on this and having my transaction fill. You know what I mean? If I do a 10% slippage trade on this, I'm paying 10% premium on this, and I don't need to, because this coin again is not doing a whole lot right now. So again, that's just kind of how slippage works. I know I just went on a little bit on a tangent, somebody, and that could save somebody a lot of money who's been making that mistake, because again, that and is a costly one. And again, I've had times where I've even forgot to change my slippage. Like, let's say I was trading into some small volatile meme coins, and then I see a position in the coin that I actually really like, that's a blue chip, and I go to make that transfer, and I don't realize that my slippage is still set at 9%. Well, again, I just took a huge hit on my transaction. I've done that and ended up spending hundreds of dollars. I've done that and ended up spending thousands of dollars that I didn't do, that I didn't want to. Wasn't necessary for me to do that. And now again, if I'm at a 10% slippage and the price doesn't go up 10%, I'm at a deficit until it does, right? So again, the goal is to get things at the cheapest price, not to be paying a premium on that. I'm looking for the cheapest for all coins, including you. Just want to also clarify that too, but also let you guys know that I'm at a position right now, at a time right now, where it really needs to start seeing something happen, which is again what we've been talking about on this 12-hour. We need to see a good solid close. It's either going to be a green candle that closes, or it's going to be a red candle. Either way, we're either going to see this thing really start to send down, possibly even all the way down like a level like this. What would the market cap be if we were to see some of these lower levels? It would be at like 175. And if Toshi coin wanted to break down into the weekend, it would go down probably to 175. There's also a chance that maybe Bitcoin does pick up some traction. Maybe it does pick up, and Toshi coin will still be able to form a wedge, break up out of some of this consolidation. Again, the coin is not falling off of a cliff. It's just kind of starting to get less and less volatile, which again is not making me feel too bad. Toshi coin in the past 7 days is down about 11%, but again, with a 214 million market cap, this market could be much more volatile than this coin is. A lot of these coins are down 11% in the past 7 days, but their market cap is much bigger. So the fact that Toshi coin is still holding on at such a small market cap, again, it makes me feel good about this project. I do know that there is a lot of panic in the market right now. There's a lot of fear in the market, but again, I actually enjoy these times. These are times that I look forward to. It's times where I just work even harder than I did, because one, there's going to be a lot less competition. A lot of these guys are going to get out the market. A lot of your favorite YouTubers, if Bitcoin corrects down more, are going to totally disappear on you. And then I will just have to work a little bit harder again, because I do not think that the cycle's over. And then, usually come out on top. It's kind of the way that's out. But, working harder for you, maybe, working harder at your job or whatever like that, trying to make some more money, take advantage of these prices. Again, if the cycle's not over, maybe you have some more time to accumulate, like some of these big billionaires are. But either way, if you are planning on accumulating crypto, I will always tell you guys, do not over leverage into a market like this, especially right now, right? The trend has turned over, right? There's a chance that we keep establishing lower highs for a little while, right? We're not in an uptrend now. We're in a downtrend now. So the market has already turned over. We're just waiting for some kind of confirmation to prove that we have any kind of recovery happening. And right now, guys, we really don't have that confirmation. So just understand that if anything, this is showing me more of a confirmation that that we might see some sell-off based off of this right here, this rising wedge, this downtrend, the fact that it's Saturday, the fact that we usually see sell off on the weekend, we usually see fake outs on a Monday. It's just a lot of things telling me that this is looking more like a short, even though again there's some euphoria that's coming into the market early. This is kind of what happens. We a lot of time on a Saturday, early in the morning, especially, we'll see this early in the morning euphoria, and then kind of the price starts breaking down like later in the day. And then by this evening, the price is already broken down. And then going into Sunday, we're really starting to see some capitulation. That's just tends to be what I've saw. Just my point of views on the market, guys. Take it or leave it. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just a homie Crypto J. And I just want you guys to have some things that you're paying attention to. Again, do not take everything that I say at face value. Just take it and, sit on it, think on it, and, make your own decisions. Maybe go factor in what other people are saying, use your own thought processes and stuff like that. I do love that you guys value my opinions and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, again, I'm just a guy on a computer. I'm not a financial advisor. You guys can see though, Bitcoin, again, we talked about that sell-off, right? That sideways price action, that rising wedge that we were forming. And look, what's happening right now. I said 105, got to hold this 105.5. We're coming in at 105.4. We're starting to break down now. Are we going to see a retest of some of these lows? I told you guys it was going to be big green or big red that was going to be printing in this type of a situation. Was I lying? Was I lying, bro? Once you guys just are in this market enough, once you kind of see how these trends are playing, look at this, right? You can kind of see how this will play. This candle has a decent chance of closing big red right now. And we're really sitting on some key levels of support too, right? There's not a ton of support down here, but you could start to see that there's more inflow of these shorts, which is what I was saying, that once we start creating these more bearish patterns, we might see an increase of inflow of shorts because these people are looking for opportunities in the market to make money, and people look for short opportunities the same way they look for long opportunities. So it's going to be a fight, right, between the bears and the bulls all day today. But again, look, was this you see how we touch here, and this was a rising wedge. We saw some rejection. We have a rejection of this zone here, drop down. Look, we're rejecting again. And again, if this thing is, oh, look at this, McDonald's M right here. This is an indicator